With all the major headlines flying around the world, it's pretty easy to miss some of the quieter, but maybe even more important, shifts that are happening. And that's exactly what's going on between India and Canada. They've just signed a deal that isn't just about patching things up, it's about starting a whole new chapter.
Okay, so the first thing you need to wrap your head around is the sheer scale of this thing. We're talking about almost $2 billion. This is not your average handshake deal for the cameras. Nope, this is a massive, high-stakes investment, a clear signal that both sides are all in.
But, as big as that number is, this is about so much more than just cash. This deal is really the bedrock for a total reset. It's a conscious decision to say, okay, let's put all that recent tension in the rearview mirror and build something completely new.
All right, so let's get into it. What exactly is this billion-dollar reset? Let's break it down and really see why this is such a game changer.
Okay, at the heart of it all is uranium. We're talking about a 10-year agreement where Canada will supply uranium to fuel India's absolutely booming nuclear energy program. But here's the kicker, the really important part. Signed off by Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, it comes with a major string attached. It's for peaceful purposes only. And that's not just some legal jargon, believe me. It's a massive symbol of trust being rebuilt.
And look, to really get how big of a deal this is, you got to look at the before and after. The relationship under the Trudeau government, it was pretty frosty, to say the least. Dominated by all this political friction, especially around those accusations tied to Sikh separatism. It was basically a diplomatic deep freeze. But now, under Carney, it's a total 180. They're deliberately pushing those thorny political issues to the side to focus on what's next, on building an economic future together.
And just listen to the words Prime Minister Carney is using here. This is so intentional. He's not saying they're renewing a broken relationship. No, he calls it an expansion. An expansion of a partnership between two confident countries that are ready to move on and build something new, on their own terms.
So that all brings up a huge question, right? Why now? Why this huge pivot to India at this exact moment? Well, it turns out it's all part of a much bigger strategic game. So let's just ask it straight up. What's really driving this sudden, pretty dramatic shift in Canada's foreign policy? Well, the answer really boils down to one big idea. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. For, decades, Canada's entire economy has been massively reliant on its neighbor, the US. This pivot isn't about ditching that relationship, not at all. It's about balancing things out.
And this all feeds into this key geopolitical term you hear a lot, strategic autonomy. What does that actually mean? Well, it's basically a country's ability to call its own shots, to make its own moves without being totally dependent on one single, powerful partner. For Canada, this is all about carving out more independence, more freedom to operate in the world.
So yeah, Canada is definitely playing the long game here. The idea is to build like an economic firewall, to protect itself from potential shocks down the road, things like sudden tariffs or trade wars with the US. And partnering with an absolute economic powerhouse like India, that's a huge piece of the puzzle for building a stronger, more stable future.
Now, of course, a move this big doesn't just happen in a bubble. You can bet other world powers are watching this very, very closely. And one country in particular is paying special attention, China.
And this little timeline tells you everything you need to know about how the world is changing. So get this, back in 2012, China tried to make a similar uranium deal with Canada. The answer? A hard no. Blocked because of trust and security issues. Now, flash forward to today, and India gets a big thumbs up. That contrast? It says so much about India's growing importance and its status as a trusted partner.
And you better believe that experts in China are watching this. They're not fooled. They see this for exactly what it is, a smart, calculated move by Canada to reduce its dependence on the US and, give itself a little more breathing room on the world stage.
But look, this whole thing is about way more than just uranium. As big as that deal is, it's really just the appetizer. The main course is still to come.
The level of ambition here is just wow. Right now, trade between India and Canada is about $8 billion. The goal they've set for 2030? $50 billion. That's more than a 6 times jump. If that doesn't scream long-term commitment, I don't know what does.
So you might be asking, how in the world are they going to pull that off? Well, they've got a roadmap. First, they're going to boost energy exports, especially things like liquefied natural gas. Second, they're pushing to finalize a huge free trade deal. And third, they're getting their biggest companies to work together much more closely, which, by the way, is exactly why you saw business titans like Mukesh Ambani right in the middle of these talks.
So, what we're really seeing here when you step back is the birth of a totally new kind of partnership. It's practical, it's powerful, and it's all driven by what works for both of them, both economically and strategically.
And all of this really leaves us with a big, thought-provoking question, doesn't it? As the world's powers kind of shuffle around, is this India-Canada deal a sign of things to come? Are we moving into a new world where smart, practical economic deals become more important than old, dusty political lines? It's definitely something we should all be keeping a very close eye on.